All right, thanks for staying with us. This is Editors Forum. I'm Kelly Egiga. Well, Sunday, let's get talking. So the president has sacked 2 ministers. This is very rare. It's a very rare move by Mr. President.
Yeah, rare indeed, because he hardly takes such actions, even when expected. So it's a little belated, but it's good that the decision has been made, at all. And according to the president, it's going to be a continuous exercise. So it's a welcome development, and I think on this I'll commend Mr. President. And the 2 ministers that were sacked, the Minister of Power and the Minister of Agric, it shows Mr. President is now beginning to realize perhaps that the government is not performing, begin to realize Nigerians are suffering, begin to realize the hardship in the country, and getting to let people go. Agriculture is very crucial. Power is also very crucial. Look at what is happening with electricity.
Yeah, so hopefully would capture that as the conversation goes. The sack of these ministers is coming 2 years and few days after they were inaugurated in 2019. But let's cross over first of all to Kaduna State, where Engineer Dr. Kelani Mohammed is standing by, Director, Media and Publicity of the Presidential Support Committee. He's also the Chief Publisher of the Liberator magazine. Thank you so much, Doctor, for agreeing to speak with us. Fantastic network. I must commend you this time around from Kaduna State, where I understand also the local government elections is taking place. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But then, Mr. President has taken this move to sack 2 ministers almost 2 years after they were inaugurated. Is such a move justified by Mr. President?
Mr. Kelly, I think Mr. President did what Caesar could not do. We have been calling on him all these days to make sure that he reshuffles his cabinet, because whether we like it or not, there are some deadwoods in his cabinet. And this move is so good that all Nigerians now are pressing the government. So all we want is that in the nearest future, all those that are not performing, you should be able to disengage them and bring those that are energetic, experts, experienced people, so that they can deliver Nigeria. Let me talk about Alhaji Nonono. He's supposed to be a seasoned administrator, an expert, a civil servant who has worked many years. But it surprised me when they gave him this position. He allowed himself to be dragged into AFAN, All Farmers Association's problem. So I don't know why he allowed himself to be dragged into it. There were 2 protests at his office in Abuja. People, crying that there was a backlog of payment to this All Farmers Association. They did some contracts and they were not paid. Apart from that, you can see that what we expected for him was that he's supposed to identify the pros and cons of agriculture in Nigeria. Then the blueprint, he will now come and start implementing it. But we didn't see that. Is he going on Green Revolution or Feed the Nation program? If that is not the case, there is a good policy of the government about this Ankobora scheme, which he's supposed to key in seriously to bring in all the past extension workers in agriculture, retrain them, bring machineries, because we are in the era of
in a nutshell, you think he hasn't done well, despite the fact that this administration keeps fanning the embers or flames of a lot of progress in terms of agriculture, in terms of diversifying the economy?
Yes, agriculture is supposed to be the key to our economy, to grow our GDP. So when we have food sufficiency, we can export as we've been doing in the 60s. But instead of him to bring a good policy key into agro growers, bring in these extension workers, as I said before, all the local government to the wards, then the issue of fertilizer should be given directly to the farmers. They didn't do that.
There are issues on ground, which we'll need to touch on. Stay with us. We will check in with you very, very shortly. Sunday, let's come back to you. These two ministers are actually the first set of ministers that have been sacked by Mr. President since he assumed office in 2015. Yeah. Is that good enough?
Yeah, that's why, like he said, it's long expected. And like we said earlier, it's belated. But that he has also made a decision at this point, when he has 20 months to go, I think it's encouraging. We should commend him.
All right, Forum. Well, the journalist that always rather looks like a politician has only just joined us, Deyemi Saka, public affairs analyst and media consultant. Thank you so much for coming on the program this afternoon.
It's a dual calling, you know.
It's a dual calling.
Yeah, I can never tell. Always about packaging.
Okay, so you say you actually just got vaccinated yesterday. I'm wondering how you're feeling.
No, I'm feeling so normal. Yeah, you follow the precautions of the advice before and after. You'll be nice. Some people were still, some took it and 42 some 2 hours after, they're still feeling like a jelly, but trust me now.
All right. Well, I hope you're not referring to some of us, because myself and my colleague Rebami Salako, in fact, we just kept on feeling very weak and dizzy and all of that.
I'm a man.
Well, I'm a man as well. All right, let's get your perspective very quickly about this sack. Since 2015, Mr. President has never fired anyone. He's such a patient personality. We should commend him for that. But finally, he has sacked two. Out of, I think, about 41 ministers per se. I mean, but as I've listened to Sunday here, I've listened to Engineer Kilani Mohammed. Is there so much a minister can do to improve his ministry?
Well, I don't know why some people call it reshufflement or reshuffling of cabinet. That is nothing. It's not close to reshuffling. To me, two ministers, in fact, if you want to ask me, my choice of word, President Buhari let go of the two least competent of his ministers. We have a federal minister of FCT that's lifeless on the job. You have a minister of labor that's plunged into labor crisis, that since 20 whatever. So you ask yourself, he hasn't done anything spectacular. We have a national security advisor that the country is actually battling with so much insecurity. As a minister of defense, those are key sectors that their ministers are either underperforming. Yes, I would say they're underperforming because we cannot push. Yes, there is a lieutenant. They follow his orders, but they are amplifying the incompetence of this government. And those ones are retained, and you're telling me I should be celebrating? How no?
So you definitely love to see even more reshuffling.
In fact, if you ask me, I can't wait for this administration just to go and start a new system.
Okay. I think we just have to leave that and then move on. Before you also came on board, we also responded very briefly to the Edo State Police Command confirming the killing of Shore's brother by kidnappers. It's indeed very sad. I'm not sure if you're following that story.
No, I saw it.
Just a few hours earlier as of today, Saturday. I mean.
Yeah, because it's true. I probably will not want to preempt anything, but I don't know. Is the police acting on? Are they giving us this information based on criminal investigation, or they're just assuming they are kidnappers? There's another claim from Shore himself. This is another claim by the Nigerian police. Yes, I want to go with the state of the official statement of an institution started with such a responsibility, which is the police. But is the police giving me such information based on a conclusion or probably a hint of criminal investigation, or they're just trying to douse tension and what have you? It still shows us that the roads across the 36 states of the Federation of FCTs are not safe.
All right, Engineer Kilani Mohammed, I'm not sure if you're still with us, but if you are, I would like you to just briefly respond to the next chapter of the Buhari administration, what you think he needs to do in terms of getting the job done. Very recently, he expressed his determination and commitment not to leave office as a failure.
Can you come back again? I'm not hearing you clearly.
All right, I may need to go by that question again. I'm wondering, the president has 2 years or left, or less rather, left in his tenure. I wonder what you think he needs to do very urgently to leave office as a success and not as a failure, as he has expressed very recently.
Oh, this is a very good question, Mr. Kelly. The government of Mr. President is going to perform wonders in the next 2 years. What we are doing now, we just want to consolidate on the shortcomings, the pros and cons. From there, all those, as I mentioned, what the government needs to do now and which is preparing to do is to make sure that those that are not performing, they should give way. Inject new energy into the system, bring in honest and sincere people that will actually work towards actualizing the 3 cardinal principles of APC: corruption, economy, and security. By the time you bring in people who are really trustworthy, and they have Nigeria at heart, not like the way Sata speaks all the time. We want Nigeria to be one, despite our differences, and this is what I kept saying all the time. So let it be that as the president has it now, you have just seen an example of what happened with these 2 ministers. So very soon, I believe there are going to be another, reshuffle of the government, the cabinet, and we want them to start very quickly. It's not only these 2, so that there are teaming supporters of Mr. President who work tireless with him over 20 years, who are saying change. We want Mr. President to bring them on board so that that change they are crying for or yearning for will be actualized. I want to call even on Mr. President, the way Mr. Sakai is attacking the government, let us bring him on board so that we will see how he can perform to change Nigeria for good. Then, because already you can see our economy, they said it has a GDP of 5.1%. I believe in the next quarter again, it will be going up until after 2 years. And the issue of security, you saw over 5,000 insurgents have now repented. They have surrendered, they have repented. That is a kudos for this government. On the issue of the economy, you can see the PIB now. The PIA Act, NNPC now, which Nigeria depends on the springboard of the economy, it has been given an independency to operate.